Hey guys, Coach Chris here, back with another video. Excited to show you this one. We get another French defense. Opponent plays knight d2, and now whether they play knight d2 or knight c3, I like taking here. We end up in the same position. We cut out a ton of theory. And the move I've been experimenting with lately is bishop d7. And the idea is to just immediately get the bishop to c6, give it a job to do, so that it's not the stereotypical bad French bishop blocked in by that e6 pawn. Opponent played knight f3, bishop c6, continuing the plan. Now that knight on e4 is attacked, so bishop d3, and now knight d7. This is an important move, taking control of the e5 square so that white can't play knight e5 and then take this bishop, or otherwise cement a powerful knight on e5. White castles, now knight gf6. Knight on e4 is attacked twice. And you'll often see bishop g5 here, but after bishop e7, we're just going to trade off some more pieces, which was what we want since we have less space. And so here, my opponent played knight to g3, keeping pieces on the board, trying to take advantage of having more space and slightly more active pieces for the moment. I just developed bishop e7, rook e1, castle, and now here my opponent does drop the knight into e5. Now I don't want him to take on c6, which would wreck my pawn structure and get rid of my beautiful light squared bishop, and so I take, and opponent took back with the pawn. And I think my opponent assumed that I immediately had to retreat that knight, but I don't. I can make use of that c6 bishop and play queen to d5. Threatening checkmate, so white needs to address that. In this game, white played f3, plugging this light square diagonal, but opening the dark square diagonal, so bishop c5 check. King went into the corner, and now it is time to move the knight, but I don't have to retreat it. I can make use of this awesome queen-bishop battery and play knight to g4. Now the pawn can't take, because that would lead to checkmate. So there's a funny engine line. The engine says that the way for white to stay in the game is to play bishop takes, h7 check, go into something like this, where black has the two bishops, could maybe triple up these pawns, and just go into a very pleasant endgame. White should be able to hold, but black is pressing. So, pretty funny that that's the move that saves white. My opponent didn't find that move, unsurprisingly. My opponent played knight to e4, which does seem to make sense, right? It plugs this light square diagonal. I should have mentioned that on knight to g4, I'm also threatening knight to f2 check, forking the king and the queen. And so knight to e4 not only plugs up this diagonal, but it also controls the f2 square. However, there's a beautiful move here that I was very happy to play, and my opponent just immediately resigned after I played this move, and that is queen takes e4. Really proud of this one. So the point is that if white just takes, so for example with the f-pawn, then we can play knight f2 check, king g1 only move, and now we're taking this queen with check. So we're getting our queen back. We're up a piece. You can check out those lines there for yourself. But yeah, engine says after queen takes e4 that black is up more than a piece there. So was really happy to find that move. Just removing the defender of the f2 square, making use of these very active, threatening bishops leading right to white's king. And, you know, who says the French has to be boring? Now, usually I like to play the boring, grinded out positions, but when you've got active pieces like this, then you really have to try to find a way to make use of them. And knight g4 is the way to do that. And then yeah, I don't know, just grinding those tactics will help you spot queen takes e4, followed up by the fort. So didn't get to see the conclusion. My opponent realized that after queen takes e4 he was just lost and resigned. So according to the engine, no inaccuracies, mistakes, or blunders, 96% accuracy. Really happy with this game. Kind of shows you the power of that bishop on c6 and how it doesn't have to be this awkward piece. You can take advantage of it, and that's the whole point of the line, is to immediately get it out and get it active. Speaking of the Fort Knox variation, there is supposed to be on Chessable on Monday a new French course that will be featuring the Fort Knox variation. I'm really excited to check that out. If you guys check it out, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching this video. Keep grinding those tactics.